Well, good morning again. And if you were wondering why I'm saying again, that's because we already did a live video this morning overlooking, a live vlog overlooking Foul Bay. So this is our second time on with you. This is a 4K resolution now. And the reason why is because where we're going, we will get no signal whatsoever. Right where we are, we could get a signal, but where we're going next couple hundred yards, there will be no signal whatsoever. We did tell you about Foul Bay, about how the clouds are building from the convection, going over to the northern side or northeastern side of the island. Northern mainly, that's where it's going right now. On the westerly, northwesterly side, we'll probably get it. That's the convection that's building. The breeze behind us is so beautiful right now. I'm telling you, absolutely lovely. So anyway, no more talk. We are going to be all putting this information, location generally in the area. We are very near to Bell Point. We're on the northern side of Bell Point. We'll show you that in a few moments time. But we want to show you from scratch as we get out of the vehicle and walk down the hill. We have both of our cameras with us in case we have any issues with overheating, not memory or anything like that, but overheating today will be the problem. It's a very, very hot day right now with the clouds holding the sandbar, and with the breeze that's coming in here, quite cool and nice. So we thought we'd bring you on this ledge today to let you enjoy what we've taken you on before. But I think we can be maybe better today because we have a little better equipment. We also feeling a little different now to how we were when we did it last time. Our journey is much, much stronger. Our faith is intensified beyond words. And our love of life is obvious to anyone that looks and sees who we are, how we are, whether we're on camera, off camera, wherever we are. This is how we always are. Love, love, love life. All right, you can take a lookout point. Let me make our way back down here and go down that path. I haven't been up here, I would say, for maybe a year and a half, about a year and a half at least. So the path going down and stuff may have changed a little bit, but generally it's the same fork here. I'm going to take you to the lookout point of where we've done a couple of, I think we did a live up here before because we had a good signal at this exact location. But we're going to be descending onto the shelf below, talking a little bit about down there. As I said before in our earlier live, St. Phillip is an area that if you're driving on the main road going around to do an island tour, you're driving to St. Phillip and say, gee, well, this is one boring section of the island, man, they ain't got nothing going on here. However, you need to come out of your vehicle, or you need to drive to areas where you do not normally have on an island tour and explore all of St. Phillip, because when you get beyond that point of where the cliff turns into coves, bays and beautiful ridges, cliffs such as this, or I would say ledges such as this, that's where you see some beauty in the island. Have a look at this here from where we are right now. So you're on the Fortescue, called the Savannah area generally. These ridges are two of these shelves that are in this immediate area. There's this one that we're going to take you walking on now, and then there's one on the other side of this point here. They don't join, but on the other side of this point is going in the direction of Concept Bay. So we want to bring you out here and let you have a look and see what down on that ridge looks like. We had to obviously pick a day when the wind was not too intense, because although we have on our wind mic, we still will have some problems if the wind out here was very, very strong and intense. So we're happy to be able to come out here to find these conditions. We are looking around for Erin first. We're looking to see if we could find some swells. Nothing coming in as yet. I would imagine it'll probably come in tomorrow if it does, and not too big, but something that's really going to be a lot of fun to surf and stuff right now. It's like the calm before the storm. Just beautiful. Storm's not coming here though, so don't think that I'm trying to insinuate that. I'm just trying to say that this is the calm before the storm that we'll be encountering. Or not us, but to the north of us will be. And we'll also be affected as well, because we're going to see weather conditions are associated with tropical systems when they don't hit you. That will be the spirals that will come in maybe occasionally, clouds being sucked up from the conversion zone in that direction of the system to fuel it, and also wind coming from a different direction, and which can create choppy seas on the west and on the southwest side that you wouldn't normally see. Don't know if that will happen today or tomorrow, but we should get some kind of suction coming off the south that will change things to look a little bit. So what you will see today, tomorrow will look quite different, I would imagine. Not, as I said, anything intense, but we should see that. Or we walk around here, we could have gone through the bush and trudged through it, but last time we went through there, we had a couple of difficult little coral heads that were sticking up. So I'd rather come around this way and make it more peacefully. As I said, it was a little bit younger then. Oh, we were younger yesterday and today too, so I'm not trying to say that I'm an old guy, but I am a lot more cautious now. The journey for me is something that will go on as long as God gives me life and the ability to carry it. And Jeanette feels the identical same way, and together we shall continue this journey forever, or until our time is called. So we're going to bring you everything we can bring you in the most safe environment we possibly can. All right, so this is obviously not something that everyone can do what I'm doing right now. So this is the opportunity for you to enjoy it. For those who can't even make it out home today, we bring you with us to this beautiful ledge. I'm going to let you see all the beauty out here as well. Be wary now when you're in the St. Phillip area, there's not much surface soil. So any little coral heads can be buried under the grass, and unlike most of the other places, or most of the other coastlines of the island, if you have something, you will have some soil around it and stuff, which would lessen the impact. However, up here, raw, naked side. So you've got to be real careful. Now today I'm walking, of course, in hikers wouldn't come out here without them, but I'm in baggies, which we call surf trunks baggies. And this bush here is definitely not the most comfortable to be walking through. You can see thorns on it. So my legs are going to look a little bit scratched up, but that's all right because Jeanette is not currently here and she won't complain, because if I got scruffy legs and scruffy hands, she will quarrel. So I will have time to patch up before she gets back home. Jeanette? You may not be here, girl, but I get taught your name somehow, whether it's true or not. Everyone is going to know it's true. I don't tell lies. All right, so we're making our way down. Again, as I said, it's not just the surface, but it's the stuff that's sticking out. These kind of things stick in your calf real easy. Now this is sea grape, and everybody says, well, sea grape's soft. Trust me, this here, at this angle, ain't soft. So be careful when you're walking through any bushed or grassed areas. You have to exercise caution. Also, we have quite a bit of sour grass under my feet here. You may have heard a little stutter in my voice. That's because I was gathering my balance again, because I took a little slide there. It's wet, and obviously because it's looking really lush and moist, it's going to be a little bit on the slippery side. There are a couple of other things we could have come through here just now. Probably would have been the easier way to do it, but last time was a little more difficult. But you know, we're around here, so we're going ahead with what we're doing. It is not a simple walk down. You also have to be careful because there's some loose coral rocks around here as well, that will slip out on you. We just came over a few of them there. I have on the best gear that I could possibly wear out here today under my foot. So, well, the best that I know of, or best for what we do. And that is still not helping with the rolling and the little shifting and sliding that is occasionally happening. So just be extra cautious when you're exploring in the island, please. A lot of you may be saying, boy, Nicholas, you don't know what you're talking about. Hey, climb mountains, I go all over. All right, well, if something happens and I've explained to you what I think could happen, then you can't say, Nicholas, you encourage me to go down the side there and then warn me about it, because that's not what we do. This is not an area that I would bring you and your lady and hang out either. You know, if you come down here to do what we're doing now, doing a video or something, fine, but I wouldn't come down here and say, well, I can go down there and cool out for the day and hang out, because there are some people that come down here. You can see there's a track coming down that will tell you that it is a popular part for a lot of fishermen and stuff like that, and people from the residential area. Behind us, this entire section that you see all cane and grass is now big residential area. So you get a lot of people that do come in sometimes, because a lot of people are not going to walk down here. They're going to stand on the cliff and have a look at it, call that George. You're not going to come down inside this section here just to get onto this ledge, unless you're a fisherman or you're doing what we're doing, and that's trying to bring the beauty of Barbados to you. Remember, we are registered as the Beauty of Barbados to our eyes. We're also registered as the EMC Gatherings. We're also registered as Barbados Journey 246. So we have quite a few of our things that we hashtag and stuff that we are actually registered for, because we try to capture the names in the beginning just to make sure that we protected it. We don't want anything to spring up that sort of like contradicts what we do and come up with the same name. So hopefully that won't happen anyhow. Alright, so we're now in the lower section. Show you what we just came through. Just so you can see a little something for it. It looks easy. It is not difficult. Just have to take your time. And of course, that's if you're sturdy. If you're not sturdy, yes, but that's difficult for sure. Alright, so this is where this ledge runs out as it goes around to the other point here, just after this point itself. It goes to sheer cliff, and then the ledge starts back on the other side. Not as long, or to me as much character as this one here, but similar setting. Breeze coming from that direction, which would be southeast. It is coming across fairly strong right now, so That's a nice little thing. That's a nice band that's coming in or something. We're getting some wind direction anyhow, some wind. But as you can see right now, just looking like calmish. A couple of little swells running around. You can see the surges out here. Remember, it's coming into low tide fairly soon, so it will probably be a little bit calmer at the high tide. But we are expecting some kind of little swell off of it. And that we would be me, myself, I, and of course Jeanette. So, not the Barbados Met Office or anybody who's told us that. It just is basically where the system is. It all depends on how strong it gets and how fast it moves, as to what kind of swell we get. You know, the swells are closer now than they were originally when it was on its first path a little while ago. Now the present path puts the swells just to the north of the island, north and east of the island, and therefore I think it's possible we may get some more if it intensifies. That would be fairly logical, I would think. Hopefully. Alright, so down here, not somewhere to come at high tide with a swell, or with a swell period, high, low, mid tide. If there's a swell, do not come down on the shelf. If it is high tide and there's a swell, this water is coming right up to there. This whole bottom ledge will disappear when the swells come in. If it is a big storm swell, it's going to go up way beyond where the vegetation starts here. I've actually seen up here a hurricane swell. It goes way beyond here. You see there's a little bit of a trophy valley behind that. It's where the water actually gets up and settles up there on occasions when there's a big hurricane swell. So you don't want to be anywhere on this lower elevation or coming down this lower elevation when there's a swell coming across here, especially if it's a hurricane swell or something that's huge, like a north swell or something. You don't want to be caught on this section of this plateau at all, because down here is very dangerous. You can see this is not rainwater. This is like water from high tide, just the general high tide that they would have had last night and yesterday. You can see there's not much for it to clear, and this is a lowish tide, because right where that swell is coming over there now, and that actual other plateau below is sort of like disappearing. That is usually not seen at high tide at all. So you understand that depending on the tide, how out here can be, even on a smaller day. Seeing a couple of little lines here breaking on the outside, just to give you an understanding that twice this distance out beyond here is a coral reef. And that is where, when there's a big hurricane coming across the coastline, across the eastern and northern coastlines, the island, that turns into one main road. So you'll be looking out here from up by College Savannah, just up, say on the elevated side of where Three Houses Park, up there the ridge with the shop, and you will see that entire outer ridge beyond the actual Barbados itself, the landscape, going out halfway out to what you would look at, say halfway out the horizon. You will see a full white line. That is what happens when hurricanes swell past here. This year we are hoping to cover that for you. We're not hoping to get any swells to damage anywhere. Let's start with that. But if there is something that comes along, we hope we'll be able to capture whatever we can for you, and hopefully it'll have a minimal impact on anywhere that it does come into. Alright, so we talked earlier on as well in our live video about 2 types of footwear you need to bring to Barbados if you're exploring. We have heard some travel groups saying you don't need beach shoes in Barbados. That is if you're staying on a resort or an active beach where there are a lot of people, because if someone breaks a glass or something, someone will be picking up, or whatever the case may be. However, in the areas where are not very dense with population and stuff, especially along the west coast where they've lost a lot of the beach area, a lot of the walls that had rebarb steel put into the walls to hold them up, and also had gables built across the front to block the sea from coming in. They have all been dislodged, and remaining rebarb sticking up and pieces of wire, chain link wire sticking up that were used for the cages. That happens on the south as well. We also mentioned to you about wearing your serious hikers, not style boots, hikers, because you want something with a sole that can withstand the perforation of this type of stuff. This coral here, if it cuts you, you are going to be in serious situation for a long time. Coral is not easy. There are all kind of bacteria and stuff in the coral. So when you get cut by coral, remember most of it is living organism. When you get cut by it, it does not heal. It takes forever to heal. Y'all would know that, anyone who's been cut seriously by coral. But if you look at these razor edges of where people are not walking, where we are walking, these razor edges and points, these are what will go straight through software or track shoes or slippers. You also want something with protection on your ankles, because if you're stepping on something like this and it breaks away, all good and dandy for under your foot, but your sides, your ankles are then exposed to the coral sides that you sit into. So you want to make sure you have like mid-cuts, at least mid-cut shoes to protect the ankle, also protect the ankle roll, Not high cuts, because that will limit your flexibility for walking on cliffs like this. I wouldn't recommend that. I would say mid cuts for sure. From here you can see the coconut tree at that point. If you're on the east coast of Barbados, in Bashable, you're in Bath Beach or whatever, you do not see Raggy Point Lighthouse. You will see Raggy Point Lighthouse in the elevations such as Cherry Tree Hill, and along the ridge that overlooks Cattle Wash. All along that area there, you will be able to see Raggy Point on a clear day. Even for Cherry Tree Hill, yes, you can definitely see it. And I've also seen it from Cove Bay on an incredibly clear day. But what I can say is that if you were looking from anywhere in the lower elevations when you're driving, and you see a coconut tree, that is a coconut tree. That is the upper cliff from Concept Bay. Directly beyond that is Concept Bay, and you can see a part of the ledge there, just directly in the center of the camera, to the left of the center of what we were talking about before. We get a couple of squalls are coming in because those clouds behind us, we've got some wind getting sucked into them for sure. It is bringing a little bigger surge and stuff, so we're just going to walk back. Anyhow, we really just brought you here to show you that, but we haven't stopped yet. We have a little walk to do out here. Right now the conditions feel cool and nice, so hopefully the camera will not overheat as it did the other day at Q. See how it goes now. Alright, so another thing about here is the blowholes. You can actually hear these breathe. These are huge. You'll find huge, bigger ones down the north of the island and stuff, and in other areas as well along the east. But these are ones that I like out here because there's nothing around. Look, let me give you. I'm going to give you a circle of love exactly where I'm standing. We can do some more later, but I can give you one right now. Breathe in this serenity and peace that we are bringing to you from the shores of Barbados. Here we go. This is why I love up here. Right now where we are, you're not really going to see anyone out here at all. If you do, it'll be a fisherman or maybe someone from the actual housing residence area behind here that may just take a stroll out here or something, but rarely would you see someone down here, especially this time of day. So it is all peaceful and serene. There's nothing going on. And where we are right now, you're hearing the birds and the canaries, grass canaries and stuff in the background, tweeting and enjoying life and having a good time for sure. Absolutely beautiful. Now, we've talked about this before, and I know some people eat this here and tell you this is great because it has in iodine and everything else is great for you. I won't eat any of it, but I've seen people eat it in the past. But these, you have to be also careful when you're walking on them, because if you're walking on a surface that's all solid, these here are very pulpy. So if you were to break them, there's something like an aloe, look like an aloe, so they're very pulpy and stuff. So if you step on these here and you're on a hard surface, these can throw you down like a banana peel. So just be careful. If you see these here, yes, they're beautiful, but they do have a tendency of throwing you down if you're on something solid, because like I said before, it's pulpy and stuff, so you got to be wary. Might give you the slip you're not expecting, you know. Just beautiful up here. Now, all under where we are, well, not all under here, but a lot of under where we are is all eaten out from the sea over time. So we're walking on sections where it's actually being chiseled out underneath with the softer matter, similar to what happens to the coastline when you're seeing the big rocks like in Bashable and stuff. So look how far back we are from the cliff, but look at this hole. So this is one of the blowholes. This is going to get real serious when it gets big. You can see the rocks have been blown away from this area in general. It will come up through here like a spout, so you got to be careful of our equipment obviously, but I want you to see how far away we are from the actual cliff. And this is what's happening. So a lot of under what we're actually walking on is similar to that. It just hasn't eaten out the last section of it. So under here, a lot of this may be hollow. So I'm not saying to be really more careful. I've already told you to be careful, because you can't be any more careful than extreme care, which I've asked everyone to be when they're coming down in this area. So there are little things and little reasons. You'll see most of here is just a lot of sand and like just loose stuff that can be easily torn out. So that's basically what's happened underneath. Water's funneled into area here, kept eating out the matter all the time, and then it's worked its way right up inside. And there are little sections all along here where there are little portholes as well that turn into big blowholes when the swells are really pumping out. Here's spectacular. I am praying that the day that it does come with a big swell, that I do get the opportunity to bring Jeanette here with me when I'm here so she can hear it. We're going to keep quiet for a few minutes because we get into an area where you can hear it. You hear it breathing? Listen. You hear that breathing going through here and tearing going through? That is the swell that's coming in under there through a tunnel, coming under here, eating its way out or working its way right back down through here. There are other little holes as well. So when you see stuff like this here, don't step on it too easily and gingerly because it may be just sitting on top of a hole like this one is forming here. You can get CDC spray and you can actually hear it as well. I just got blown off there by some, so we're going to take a little walk across here and keep going. We're just protecting our equipment. There's nothing up here that's life threatening or anything at the moment because we have taken into consideration it's a drop in tide. We also have taken into consideration if there are swells coming, they're not going to get here yet. So they're the two things that were of major concern for this elevation that we had to pick a good day like today. As I said, we had done this before, maybe longer than a year and a half ago. It could have been 2.5 years ago. But last time we did it, we had our S9 and that overheated and we didn't get done. So today we've come out with Jeanette's old camera, which she's given to the Journey 246, turn it into it. And we are using that, and we're also using my camera as well in case this overheats, so we will not have to stop and come back another day or anything. We will just stop, then we merge them at the end as we had to do last night with our Q video, second Q video, because it cut out because I forgot to clear the storage out of the phone from crop over and we ran out of memory. Come on, listen, you gotta laugh at yourself, you know. I thought I'd done it for both. Evidently you only did it for one. So anyhow, it was supposed to be that way. It's not something they did on purpose, so that's how it was supposed to be. Alright, so again, we want to, oh, here's a nice little swell. You can see we're beginning to get a little surge now. Again, it may be to do with the low tide because obviously the depth of the water here is going to be a lot lower than it would have been at high tide, because as we said before, all this section here where you see the water, this would normally be, you could see the actual colouring on the coral around. You can see where it's normally underwater, where it's always saturated. You can see this moss would not grow unless it has water on it most of the time. So the high level mark would be pretty much up to where you're seeing these rings here along the coral section, and that's where it would have been under general conditions. And then as I told you before, the swells come in, whether it be a north swell, a general east big high pressure swell, or a hurricane swell, you're going to see water going right up and rushing up the mountain on these sides here, and that is not a joke or an exaggeration. I've seen it. I'm going to bring it for you and show you. A little better view there over by the Savannah area. You can see a slight trace of the actual ridge like this one here beyond the point. As I said, it's not one continuous one, and it's quite small, so covering down in here pretty much covers the better side of this section anyhow, but quite beautiful. Alright, so this is what we are having under us in the water over there that's coming up the blowholes. This is similar to what happens to the Animal Flower Cave and the other cliffs along the northeast of the island. From the surging of the swells all the time, continuously coming in, the weeder matter gets eaten out. You look at Bashba Beach and think of Bashba when it was still underwater. Remember, a coral island, and we're growing out of the water. So when Bashba was still underwater, all of those rocks that are on the reef would have been large coral masses, or rocks that are on the beach, sorry, would have been large coral masses similar to what you're seeing here. Similar to what you're seeing here, where all the weaker matter is eroded right around it, leaving just the rock. So imagine over time, as Barbados rose and the seawater ate away all the soft land and chalk and limestone and stuff that are around the big coral stones, leaving what is now Bashba with those coral stones are actual coral stones, not rocks that roll over the hill. So this is a similar example of what is happening here. You can see how it's carving its way around this coral head here now. So in years and years and years beyond our time, of course, this would be a big rock, and we're probably separated from the land as the land gets eaten out, because we're seeing it happening under our feet as we're walking. This area would more than likely be similar to this plateau before it all got eaten out this bad and then dropped in. So I would imagine this was very similar and flat at one time before I had come here, long before I had come here. But because of the continuous eating out underneath is given away and broken away, you can see where it would probably have done so. Alright, so if you're ever here about Bell Point in Barbados, we've done a lot of videos up there. That is Bell Point. A lot of people on the maps, or a lot of maps, will bring you to what they call Bell Point, and that is that point there in the dead center of the camera. where you drive out there and you take pictures of Bell Point, but that's Bell Point, which you can get to. We've shown you that on quite a few videos. So again, one day you'll see it again. But if you go into our 4K video resolution and stuff, we'll explain a little bit more about Bell Point and stuff, and some of our lives are also there as well. So this is what's happening under us right now. The surface, however, what we're walking was probably once here, and these little caves and funnel or channels are being dug, or tubes are being dug up into the land, are similar to what these blowholes are that we have behind us here. That's quite interesting. It's a nice day with the clouds overhead that we can actually see a little bit better, because we are able to see up inside areas that glare may have sometimes prohibit us from doing. But so we're actually getting really good vision right now. All right, you see this is going right around here. We talked about it just now about the rock. You can see the top is still on it. So in years to come, that top will drop off, leaving this rock here. And that is what you will see all along these cliffs here, similar to what's happened. Some of them have actually dropped off, and some of them have actually been eroded and just left the actual rock itself. I hope you're not getting too misty now, because we got some sea spray just now. As you can see, the swell definitely looks as though it's picking up, and that could be because of the wind. The clouds are looking as though they're about to rain over there in that general area, so get a lot of wind getting sucked into it and stuff. Wind now coming a lot stronger into our face than it was before, so that's probably going to change up the sea conditions a little bit. Not only will it make it a little bigger, definitely make it a lot choppier. Remember, you came down here, it looked like glass, or pretty much like glass, a little swell. All right, again, all here, not just the points, sharp, all here. See where we're walking? This is not something you're going to want to walk about in your nice track shoes if you come here to party in or anything so here, because these will cut them up. So please wear some gear. I have made a couple of stumbles while I was walking across here, but I did that with sort of like acknowledge that it was going to happen, because I've come across here before and I have tripped on stuff, a couple of coral heads and stuff, and I exercise all the caution in the world that I can, but it still happens. But at least I'm able to take the precautionary measures that it doesn't hopefully affect me too much. All right, now we wouldn't be able to go across here at all if the swell was any bigger, or if the tide was any higher, because where we're walking right now is all wet from the sea coming up here, the sea spray. But I want to bring you this side over here, because we don't want to end it halfway. We don't do anything halfway. We're here to Journey 246, we do it the full way. No editing, no cutting up, no removing foul ups, bleaks and blunders, no removing complete foot in mouth situations. Real life, it is as it is. You come and live it with us. We don't edit anything. This is our life. You're going to be walking with us, and we want you to walk with us because we need your energy and love, of course. All right, so you'll see again, all the weaker matter is being eaten out, harder matter is remaining. All right, more blowholes around here as well. So we're going to make our way around here. There is another little beach out here that I've been on. No, that would have to be about 8 years ago, at least 8-10 years ago, and that is just around the corner here. It's just between, not between, because that would make it sound as though they're two separate land masses, but I guess you could say it gives you that kind of impression, because there's a valley that runs down from up inside a Fortescue that comes down through the cliff in that point there, just where my finger is pointing. There's a valley that comes down there. You come down through a gully though, and then you come onto a little beach. Now, if you come onto that beach when it has sand and the right time, that you see conditions are favorable for it and stuff, you are going to get blown away when you stand on that beach and you're by yourself. It is quite extraordinary. I did it by myself, so I'm sort of like referring to what I did my own self. That was quite amazing. All right, the other blowholes out here, not as big, but these here most definitely make some noise and most definitely spout. You're going to hear them as we're walking across this general area. Right, I'm going to let you enjoy nature. Enjoy this here, people. This is all for you. Compliments to the Barbados Journey 246. Listen to her talking. These are minute ones compared to those. That's why they're making so much noise. This one right there, but that was spurred out. The swell gets up, and right down in this whole pocket here, you can see there's a fault here. So where this fault is developing, again, weaker matter again between these solid corals. You're getting these little holes that are appearing where that weaker matter is being borne out. So in a matter of years, this will be like a broken off ledge or a piece of a ledge for sure. You can see the bubbling even in the lower elevation here. That is the pressure that's coming in with these swells. So understand, when you get something 20-30 times the size of what we're seeing right now with a hurricane swell, what happens out here. And we are going to make sure and try and bring you, if God gives us the energy and the life to do so. But you can hear her talking, man. I love out here. I'm going to come back in a couple of seconds when we go to the extreme end here, which is not too much further, because it does exactly like what it does the northern side. It stops again, goes back up to sheer face. But we are coming around. I can't really show you the beach from here. I think I may have shown you on a couple of live videos. That's very possible. But I showed you from on top of the cliff and not from down on the actual beach itself. But it is right around there. See the last point here, that black, where the coral is now coming up, where the white wave is coming across the wall itself. That is going into where the beach is. It's a climb down. It's not something you could just jump down. It's a climb down, but it's a lot of bush as well, dense bush, and not very well traveled bush last time it was in there. So just be careful. But we will try and take you there one of these days again when the conditions are right. We definitely would like to take you there for sure. All right, so these are the lower ledges across Fortescue and College Savannah areas. We are right now just to the north of Bell Point. That is Bell Point. Now, if you have never been to Bell Point, again, it's going to take some off-roading through grass pasture. Make sure you take your time, because there may be a stake in the ground that was holding a cow before that you may not see, or there may be a coral head buried underneath some tall grass you may not be aware of and lose your center of your car. So these are things that you have to be prepared for, but I still want to tell you about them. But we have been right out onto that rock at the very end there and did a live broadcast in the morning. Actually a few of them, not just one. And that looks across into like Skeets Bay, on to Culpeper Island and Ragged Point itself. Quite beautiful, because when you're standing up there, you're that same distance out. Actually, you're further out on the other side on that pier. So it's like it's almost like a pier going out in the sea, but natural coral formation. So quite beautiful, quite spectacular. A lot of grass, a lot of coral with faults like these here that we're seeing. There's under the grass. So if you're going across there, when you're walking towards the walking side of it, please take your time and be cautious, because you will break your ankle in some of those spots. So be very, very careful, please. Again, if you're going off-road, you're going to anything that in areas like coral cliffs and stuff, you're going to want hikers. Do not come out here with software. I'm not saying it will not work, but you will be limited as to where you can go and where you can walk and what you have on, because you're going to know for yourself you'll get sliced up if you do venture any further. Alright, let's listen to this again. We promise you a little bit of nature. Let me go to the way of the wind that's blowing, so if sea spray does come up, it doesn't actually capture us. Unfortunately, it means we won't get the sound effect, but here we go. Now we're gonna make our way back out here and back up the top of the cliff. Don't know if you video it right through, but we could, we always, we've always said and we've always maintained that when you come to Barbados, if you're accustomed doing something in a clockwise direction, doing an anti-clockwise direction, if you've been around the island in both directions, you will know. I mean, one seems to be better to me. I have a preference of going in a clockwise direction around this island, because I see a lot more going that way than if I'm doing anti-clockwise. However, it all looks differently. So when you do it, then it completely feels different and looks different. And it's just like when we walk on our walks, when we walk along any of our beaches and stuff, unlike when we're doing long stretches that are very, very long, where we're going one way only, and where we're doing returns, we usually bring you back so you can also see from this angle as well. Sets begin to come in a little bit, so that again could be from the wind on the low tide, because out here is obviously a lot shallower now, as I said, and it could be generated off the wind that's coming in quite strong now. You may be hearing the microphone now that you weren't hearing it before. So, or it could be a little bit tris of little swells coming in. So I guess we wait and see. What I can tell you is the north of the island has disappeared pretty much, and if you look at the coastline, you will see what I mean. And then you can see the darkness up there as well. So we may be in for that in a few minutes time. We'll see how that goes. All right, it's beautiful. All right, we're gonna walk back a little bit. We're gonna do it in silence. You know I like to talk, so this is a struggle for me, but I think it's something that's worthy for you to enjoy, for you to take in yourself. So let's do this here in silence until we get a little further across. Enjoy serenity and the peace and the natural sounds of where you all call home, whether you live here in the island or whether you were born here and you live overseas, whether you've come here and found the magic for what you call home. Remember, as an old time saying, it's true, home is where your heart is. So you know what I'm talking about. Enjoy this. You would have seen some rapid acceleration just now because I see the swells going to come, and right where we are right now you can see is continuously wet from the spray and stuff, so didn't want to get caught coming across that area. In another few years when you come here, because I'm sure some of you will for sure, if you come into Barbados, you want to see Barbados, not just the resorts and the beaches and the bars and the nightclubs. You want to see Barbados itself, and not only the places that are commercialized or built as attractions, but the natural beautiful Barbados and its beautiful people. This path here that we just walked across here in the lower ridge will probably be gone fairly soon. It's beginning to break. You can see all the little shelvings being cracked off here as well. So pretty soon when you're coming here, you will probably have to go up on the higher ridge and come down. That's not like this week or next week, but that is over the years to come. All of you may not be coming this year, and all of you can afford to come next year, but when you can afford to come, or if you're here in Barbados, you want to take a day out and you're feeling energetic, you want to bring out some friends and show them some new spots that they probably have not seen and that you have captured, hopefully with us as well, you'll be able to bring them and surprise them with views such as this and places such as this, because this is really beautiful. I mean, really beautiful. The thing is that I wouldn't tell people it's a good place to come down here with a few friends and picnic on the ledge, because one is there are no trees, beastly hot down here. We're lucky right now because of this convection cloud that is sheltering us. If not, we would be in real trouble. Yes, it's humid, but nothing as hot as it would be if that cloud was not there. And also too is when you usually go to a beach party, majority of the people like to put down a couple of drinks, and I would like to have to walk with a cooler back up there after a day at a beach party or a party. So it's just an adventure. One of those you will come and walk and hike in. So we talked to you about the blowholes. Here we are again. You can see how all these sargassum is being blown up through this here. Notice it's not really on the cliff here, but look right outside of the hole, so you can see the pattern that the sargassum has come up through here, I mean blown up through here with the water pressure. So that is definitely quite interesting. And then you can see all the pressure that is coming here. You can hear over here breathe as well. Not as nice as next. That's where we were, because everywhere it's smaller and therefore you're getting a lot more intense sounds. But again, we're walking over a natural shelving here, because all below here is hollow that's coming up into this one. Alright, so we're getting back to quiet mode now. Enjoy. I hope I'm not pointing you out at the sky on any occasions, but out here is 100% concentration where I'm walking. So I am just freestyling with the gimbal, and I believe and hopefully I'm catching this on the landscape for you around here. But again, we want to emphasize the sharpness of the cliffs out here. All these cliff areas, these are like razor waiting on you. If you are falling out here, you're going to have a serious cut up situation. You're not get bruised. You can get puncture wounds and stuff, so you need to exercise 100% caution and make sure that you're always watching where you're walking. I don't mind if people hear what I'm saying and say, well, he's a real puppet, as though we're not going to do it. Listen, I am telling you because this is how I feel when I come out here. I walked out here so many times and across these ridges and cliffs so many times, but every time I go out I still stumble, and I do this here regularly, and it's not that I am wobbly. I stumble, I'm a sturdy person, but I still stumble because you get tricked by little pieces that are sticking up a little higher than the others. There's no uniformity in the coral along these cliffs, so nothing is going to be the same as where your foot is. So just keep looking all the time for us, please. And I don't mind saying it over and over. I don't mind looking like a puppet, because if what I'm saying may come over as being a puppet, you don't understand that we have your safety and your well-being at heart, and therefore we're going to tell you, even although we know already. It's a reminder for ourselves too. You know, I trot across there just now, we had to pick up some speed, and I all of a sudden saying to myself, boy, you're doing bare nonsense, because you know, out here real sharp and very, very rough. Alright, so you can see that I have some PVC tubing out here, even out here, and all along there you can see quite a few more as well over there, going right across that ridge. So obviously it's a very popular fishing spot. This is very popular in the island, this form of fishing now, where you have this PVC tubing where you can carry multiple rods and put them out without a fear of it being dragged and pulled across anywhere, or that you have to stand up with one all day. You can actually work 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rods. I've seen some people work a lot of rods, even up to a dozen rods, using these kind of holder situations here, and then they tend from one rod to the other when it's required to do so. I brought you this far out here just so we could look, get little angles that we weren't really getting when we were walking out of the direction. Just a natural pool here. Top is being eroded out, bottom still sturdy, and therefore it's holding water. What a beautiful, beautiful place. I'm really hoping that you're enjoying this walk, because you know, I've been down here before, as I told you, but today is a very special feeling down here. It's because I've been here a few times, I'm completely settled and I feel very relaxed and very at peace at the moment. So I can really truly absorb my surroundings even more than before, without having the kind of green alertness that I may have had the first few times that I came here. But now I'm feeling a lot more comfortable. Please keep your wits up at all times. Make sure you keep everything around you under observation, especially when you're going into areas such as this. And we're not only talking about in Barbados. Anywhere you're traveling in this world, you're going into isolated areas like this where there's no one in sight, and has been no one in sight the time we've been here. you would understand that you need to exercise caution, maximum caution at all times, especially if you're not familiar with the area. Because, you know, if you are familiar with the area, you know what is already there. So just keep your cautions up, please. All right, so happy to have brought you here today. Sad that Jeanette is not with us, but that's only in person, because she is definitely with us in heart and spirit. She always with me for sure, and I know for sure if she was here, she would say to give her love to all of you, because that's the kind of person she is as well. You know, God has chosen, obviously wisely. I wouldn't expect it to be any differently, but for a long time I tried to make my choices in life, and my choices in life were absolutely detrimental to my progress. God has chosen for me, completely out of the blue, not even when I was looking, someone that is so compatible to me, someone that understands the do's and the don'ts in relationships, understands the value of living life to the fullest and enjoying every minute of it because of their own ailments and hardships and tough times that they have been through. So we come as a unified front. We are, if we were, let me get technical and make it sound like athletic. If we were doing any of the nature challenges in this world, we'd be referred to as a power couple. So, yes, that's for sure. You know, I watch a lot of them as well. Survivor, I mean, the main one that always uses that terminology. Anyhow, folks, thanks for joining us today. We're not going to walk back at the hill with you. What we are going to do is look for an area that has a strong signal, so we can send a live to all of you that may be out there right now that need a little bit of serenity and peace. You know, and just need someone to reach out and say hi to you. Maybe your feeling is visible. Maybe people just have moved on with their lives and have forgotten you, or you've alienated yourself from people progressing in life and stayed behind and found yourself alone. That also happens, I know that. So if that's how you're feeling, hopefully we will be able to bring you some peace and serenity and understanding that you're appreciated in our lives. You know, whatever role you play in it, whether you come in a spiritual way, whether you send your energy, whether you send your prayers, whether you send your love, whether you're here in person, whether we get your hugs in person, whatever, you're playing your part in making sure that this journey continues, because you're encouraging us and you're letting us see that spreading love is so beautiful, and we're watching it getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger every time we go to Q or to any surroundings. We've said to you before that we are not affiliated with Q in any form or fashion, or 100.7 or any of the sponsors that are of Q in the community. However, we do endorse the commitment that they have put into making sure this event continues. It is critical to our elderly population and our more mature population, and therefore our journey is to help as many people as we possibly can to get comfort in their life by comforting them with ourselves and them comforting us with their own selves. So that is what we do, and we're going to continue pushing Q in the community. We'll not only do it on the Q days, we'll do it every opportunity that we have, because it's something we believe in. When you believe in something, you make sure and let it be known, and we believe in Q in the community. So thanks a lot to the sponsors, to our brothers and sisters of the team from Q 100.7 FM. Thank you very much for making us feel like a party family and welcoming us every time we come. And thank you for having such a great product. And we're going to make sure that we do our absolute best to support you and all of the Q family in everything that we can possibly do to do so. It's called helping others, and that's what we do. Anyway, have a blessed day, everyone. From beautiful, beautiful Barbados, of course. From Jeanette and myself and Barbados at Journey 246. From the lower plateau, which is just like Fortescue, and they call it Savannah, Bell Point, St. Phillip, Barbados. We greet you all farewell for now. Have a blessed afternoon. Remember, it's all about treating others as we treat ourselves. But first of all, we got to learn to treat ourselves right. If you are not forgiving yourself something in the past, you need to shake that off. Say the Serenity prayer, understand the Serenity prayer. You don't have any control over that whatsoever. You have control over right now. So whatever you do right now, even if it's right now after you finish this video and you start up, you say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to make a change. Come and walk with us. Be a part of something different. We're looking for your love and looking for your spirit. Catch you later.